You know the story. It starts with a map, old, frayed, and marked by a skull-shaped island. The map is a promise, adventure, danger, and riches. It's a cinematic invitation, a challenge to the bold. The skull isn't a warning, it's a brand, a symbol of ultimate risk and reward. The map becomes a character, whispering of lost worlds and treasures. For the filmmaker, the captain, the actress, it's a ticket to glory. The story is simple, human ambition versus untamed nature. Every detail on the map, precise coordinates, dramatic labels, fuels the myth of conquest. But what if the map was never meant to invite? What if it was a desperate warning, a lock, not a key? The legend is clean and thrilling, but history is rarely so neat. The real story of the Skull Island map begins not with a quest, but with a shipwreck, unimaginable loss, and one man's desperate attempt to keep the world away. Sometimes the greatest adventure is the one you're meant to avoid. The map's true purpose? Not to guide you in, but to keep you out. The map was not a treasure map. It was a tombstone, a desperate plea to forget the island existed. Niels's drawings were not invitations, they were warnings, born of loss. The map's true message was simple, stay away, but the world wasn't listening. The warning was clear, but history would soon forget. Sometimes a map is a cry for help, not a call to adventure.
I wasn't trying to guide anyone, I just needed to get it out. That place was inside me.
He drew the skull-shaped island obsessively, not as a guide, but as a way to exorcise his trauma. Each line was a memorial, the jagged coast for the rocks that destroyed his ship, the skull's eyes for the caves where horrors dwelled.
They found me drifting. I was more shadow than man, I couldn't speak, just drew that island over and over.
The true origin of the map is a tale of sorrow, not glory. It begins on a desolate beach with Niels, a Dutch sailor, and the only survivor of the Vogel. The ship, lost to a violent storm, crashed on an uncharted island that seemed alive and predatory. Niels was found months later, a hollow shell, haunted by what he'd seen. The map was his therapy, his warning, his scar made visible. It was never meant for explorers or treasure hunters. It was a message in a bottle, written in the language of trauma. The true map was a cage, not a guide. Niels tried to lock the horror away, but the world would misread his scars as secrets to be uncovered. Sometimes the most honest maps are the ones we're not meant to follow. The island's true shape was grief.
We forget maps are made by people shaped by emotion. Niels's map was pure fear, not fact.
Each drawing was an attempt to contain the nightmare to trap the island on paper. The skull shape was literal, the island was death, not discovery.
He drew the island hundreds of times, not for accuracy but compulsion, a mind trapped in terror.
Trauma finds its own language. For Niels, words failed, so he drew. His maps weren't for navigation, but for survival. The map was a geography of grief, not opportunity. Each contour traced fear, each symbol marked suffering. The map was sacred, a testament to loss, not a guide to riches. Artifacts are fragments of someone else's story. Without context, we misread them completely. The real map was never an invitation, it was a desperate attempt to keep others away.
Every symbol was personal, every mark a memory of pain.
Look at Niels's map with his eyes and everything changes. What later generations called ancient ruins were, for Niels, graves, crosses for lost friends. The dramatic strait was where the longboat was destroyed, marked by a jagged line of loss. The towering wall wasn't a challenge, but a cage, drawn in terror, not awe. The skull shape wasn't clever branding, it was a literal warning. This place is death. The warning faded. The map's meaning was rewritten with every transaction. Crosses became treasure markers, jagged lines became secret paths. The map was no longer a plea for caution, but a canvas for fantasy. Its voice was lost, replaced by the ambitions of those who owned it. This is how history erases truth. Not by destruction, but by misunderstanding. Niels's desperate message became a ghost, haunting an object no one understood. The Skull Island map is a lesson. Artifacts can be betrayed by those who inherit them. The warning was silenced, replaced by legend. Sometimes the greatest violence is forgetting why something was made. The map's true story was lost in translation.
The sad truth was less marketable than a pirate's tale.
Each new owner saw what they wanted: art, legend, treasure.
After Niels's death, his drawings became curiosities, stripped of context, sold as oddities. The map, stripped of context, led a new crew to the same doomed shores. The prophecy fulfilled itself, tragedy born from misunderstanding. The legend grew, but the truth was buried. The map's role was sanitized, its pain erased. The cycle continued, a warning repackaged as an invitation. The island's ghosts would never rest. The real adventure was always a tragedy in disguise. Sometimes, ambition blinds us to the warnings right in front of us.
They wanted the legend, not the truth. Danger meant profit. The skull became a brand, the map a ticket to glory. Warnings were recast as challenges, grief as opportunity.
The map's final transformation came when ambition took hold. Filmmakers, captains, and crews saw not a warning but a business plan.
We must become detectives, listening for silences, respecting sorrow. Sometimes the story is a warning, not an invitation. If we ignore it, we repeat old mistakes, following maps to our own destruction. The past is not a playground but a classroom, and sometimes a graveyard. We must learn to listen for the ghosts, for the warnings that echo through time. The greatest treasure history offers is the wisdom to leave some places alone. Are we listening?
We smooth out the pain, edit the mess, and turn warnings into stories we want to hear. But history is full of quiet pleas and difficult truths. The real lesson is to look deeper. Ask who drew the map and why.
We look for ourselves in the past, not for the truth of those who lived it.
The Skull Island map is more than a cursed object. It's a lesson in how we treat history. We see what we want: adventure, glory, treasure. We ignore the warnings.